a clearance problem right there. This is kind of the old quad that we're using now, and it's plowing pretty heavy. But I'd like to get a new machine, but new machines cost a lot. And old Burgundy. Got about 3-4 inches of just fluff. Not much, but this is kind of when the quad on tracks shines, because they're all season tracks, so you don't necessarily need snow, but it definitely makes it easier and everything. Figure I'd go pick up some of our wood that's left over from clearing the hiking trail. Something to do on a snowy afternoon. I'm saying it's supposed to keep snowing. Only thing so far I don't like about this new unit is it does not like starting in the cold at all. It's only about minus 12 Celsius today, and it took 24 tries to get it to run. But from a little bit of research, sounds like all the new Yamaha quads, in order to meet the new emission standards, they've leaned them out a lot to use less fuel. So when you do your cold startup, it doesn't have enough fuel to keep itself running, and the computer keeps it from adding extra fuel to run, so it just dies. So the only real solution there, they say, is put a tuner in, but you can't put in a tuner when it's new and on warranty. You can see this is a portion of the trail where we used to go around the other side of this tree, and it was kind of a side hill through here, and it was a pain. So we had all these trees down anyway, so figured if we were cutting all those, whether we cut them there or here, so we straighten the trail out. So now I got this nice flat straight shot, and it more or less dodges that rock. That rock is massive. It looks like just a little boulder, but I don't know, it might be Mother Earth. It's all pretty wet stuff. I mean, the pine's not bad, the poplar's pretty wet, so it's a pretty hefty little load on a little ATV trailer. We had freezing rain, then snow, then freezing rain, then snow. So it's kind of like a crusty layer, but if you go all the way down to the bedrock, it's just glare ice. So I know already just getting to this point, pulling the trailer, there's a couple spots I was starting to spin, but see how she goes. Right, here's the situation. I could hear some noise from back here coming up that last hill, and I was like, huh, that's a weird sound. So this hitch here, I made it so it has a tongue for a snowmobile, sleigh or whatever, but flipped right up inside, and it's got everything jammed. So I can't get this off, so I'm trying to get that off, but the 2-inch receiver's frozen. Got the pin out and beating that up, won't come off. Never simple, hey? I did it. I ended up just hitting her forward real quick, and it broke free and everything fell apart and separated. So we'll try this again. So how did that flip into there and go straight up? How? Oh, she made it without a problem, other than a couple times I was hitting here. This is like some big, huge drop hitch that we found, or I found at the shop there. Guess my dad had bought it, never used it. So it kind of compensates for the tracks quite well, but almost need something in between maybe, because this trailer does sit rather low. So you almost need it to be plowing a little bit, so when you go through a downhill transition, it doesn't hit. But yeah, throw the logs in the back of the pile here. We got quite the stockpile of firewood. You can see what we used this past year in here. Fill up our bins, but the wood splitter is dead. So we gotta take that in. Gas tank is cooked. Gotta do a modification, put a different tank on there. We're ready to go. leave that ugly one behind for now. Well, tractor's broke down. Well, not broke down, but in for repairs. So, need firewood. Ratchet strap to the bottom. I pulled it out at least. See if we can make it all the way there. Sometimes my own genius just blows my mind. I can't believe that actually worked. That was phenomenal. Look at that. Right there. Boom, boom. It's almost easier than the tractor. Well, I wasn't gonna make a video. I was just out exploring with the tractor, and I was following my groom trail through the swamp here, and I thought, okay, I'll go along, push some of these trees out of the way in the swamp. And I just barely caught the edge, and it just pulled me right in. There's no ice at all, right off the side of where my grooming is. Like, I was buried, the whole tire was under. So luckily I was able to push myself back with the forks, but you can see the frame was right on the trail there. So she was deep, so now I gotta try and back all the way out of here. Welcome back to 80 Acres. We got ourselves a new toy. I was at a banquet dinner, and they had a whole bunch of donated prizes at a live auction. And basically no one was bidding on this thing, so I threw my hand up, ended up winning it. Oh. Give me a break here. Oh, you guys, where's your stick? It's right there. Crazy dogs. Anyway, so this is a Husqvarna 225i. So this is like their, I think, second largest electric chainsaw. Yes, electric. So it came with 2 batteries. I think this is the battery it comes with, which is a B140, and then there's like a BLI 120 or something like that. But they're both the same spec. They just have different internals or something. Last generation, new generation battery. Don't really know the difference. Gonna throw some bar oil in here. It takes normal bar oil like a regular saw, and it has a, I believe it's a 14-inch bar on here, so not crazy big. First impression, plastic teeth, whatever you want to call them. Not that you're really using them that much for a saw this size. Pretty standard bar plastics. Feels like all of our other Husqvarna chainsaws. Same type of idea. You got a safety forward and down is on. You got a boost mode, which I don't quite understand that. I guess it runs at some RPM, and then you can boost it to a higher RPM for big logs. I don't exactly know, but we're gonna find out. Because yeah, the price was right. It was dirt cheap this thing went for at auction. So yeah, we'll fire her up and give her a shot here. So my expectations for this saw are, I'm gonna say, kind of in the middle. I mean, I'm expecting it to work half decent because it's a name brand actual chainsaw company, not like a Milwaukee, DeWalt, stuff like that. So a lot of it comes down to the battery technology compared to the actual tool, and how good of a electric motor they put in there. One thing worth noting, they in the instructions only recommend using this at -10 or warmer Celsius. It is currently about -30, but this is Saturday morning. Finally had time to play with it, so be it. Let's try it. This impression cuts like any other chainsaw. Pretty impressive. Sounds kind of terrifying because you're hearing all the chain and everything, which normally you're hearing the motor. But I think once you get used to that, I'll throw you guys on here and you can see what it's like. Hi. Okay. Over there. Arrow wants all the stuff to himself. There's a power button. Got to press and hold it till it lights up green. Then you've got your standard safety. I know you guys don't know to be afraid. whole piece of tree there. Hi, here's in your glory. I know, look at that. This one? Go here. You want that one? They're everywhere. Wasn't going. I guess I bumped the kickback, so it's flashing the warning light at me, and I thought maybe I killed it. Pretty good. Well, so I like it. I really like it. So that's a whole tree, probably, I don't know, 30-foot jack pine. And we do our battery test here. Actually, no, turn this off. So the only thing that kind of scares me is you don't know if it's on or off unless you look at that button. So that says we're half of a battery to do a 30-foot jack pine, which is about 10-12 inches at the base, and buck it into firewood, cut the branches off. So, and at -30, it's pretty cold. So I mean, yeah, if you have a second battery, I wouldn't say you're gonna go out and cut a cord of wood in a day. But yeah, it's nice. It doesn't have any. The only thing that makes it feel a little bit like a toy is the safety button here. It's not just the standard push down like you have on all the other Husqvarnas. You have to go forward and down, and it just has enough slop to it that it feels cheap. The trigger I would bet is probably right off of their, professional series or like their regular saws. Other than that, when you're using it, it does not feel, it's not down on power. It's not, it just cuts. Like we use a lot of the Husqvarna 445s. That's kind of our go-to saw. And I would say that this cut the tree up just as fast. So I would say, yeah, as of right now, I'd definitely recommend this. And the puppies like it because it's quiet. They can play with me as I'm playing with a chainsaw, which is kind of dangerous. So kind of what I expected to happen. It said half battery. I knocked this tree over, which is maybe 8 inch at the base. And you can see I limbed it to here. And then now it just tells me she did. Flashes that. Which I kind of figured with the cold weather it would do that. It would think it has charge, and that last bit is just basically useless. But still, I mean, for a little battery saw, not bad. Well, it's been a while. I know I haven't posted anything, but we've been busy. We've been really busy summers for work-wise. We've been really busy with all kinds of other odds and ends in life and house stuff. Basically get you guys caught up on things. problems with solar. All my panels are dipping down and look like they're going to snap in half. The contractor that had done all that actually is completely out of business, doesn't seem to exist anymore, so that's awesome. The new quad has been fantastic, other than doesn't like to start in the cold. I have all the fuel tuning from Yamaha to make it better, but it's still not great. You got to give it throttle as soon as you're like -20. Arrow and Onyx are doing fantastic. Yeah, they just want to play and play and play. And yeah, Tegan's doing great. Other than that, house is doing great. Since we switched over to the lithium batteries, now when the generator kicks on, it only runs for maybe 2.5 to 3 hours, something like that. And yeah, other than that, not much has gone on, just lots of firewood stuff. These are just dead ones around the panels, around the house, because we keep having more and more and more wildfires. So we're just trying to keep down the dead trees. But that should be about it for... I do have a few videos when I have time that I need to edit, but of course there's just no time. But anyway, subscribe, follow along. Hopefully something out in the next few weeks.